And a very, very warm welcome to Geoffrey Hill.
Yeah, that's fine. Water, I need water. Ah, bless you, thank you. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you. I think I can say that in all the 50 years I've taken part in poetry readings, this is the most terrifying venue I've ever found myself in. Well, for a start, to anyone who has spent as much time in hospital as I have, this can only have one connotation. Have you moved your bowels today, Professor? No, but I will. Are you allergic to anything? Poetry readings. I've torn up 2 or 3 scripts. You see, I thought that we were going to have an afternoon in which the relationship between poetry and the sister arts was to be celebrated. And I thought with people like Gilbert and George on the rota, it would be a quiet evening of wine and canapé and string quartets. And I prepared a very careful script in which I would, as it were, place a number of poems of mine in context. But that clearly, I was somewhat mistaken in that. So I tore that script up. And all that has survived from that script are 2 poems. One called Terribilis est locus stay, which is about Gauguin, the painter Gauguin, during his Breton period. Briefly, they are amazed. The marigold fields mel and shudder, and the travelers in sudden exile, burdened with remote hieratic gestures, journey to no end beyond the vivid severance of each day. Strangeness at doors, a different solitude between the mirror and the window, marked visible absences, colors of the mind. Marginal angels, lightning sketched in red chalk on the month's accounts, or marigolds in paint runnily embossed, or the renounced self-portrait with a seraph and a storm. And the other poem to have survived from my torn-up script is called A Pre-Raphaelite Notebook. These are poems which go back to the 1960s. A Pre-Raphaelite Notebook. Primroses, salutations, the miry skull of a half-eaten ram, viscous wounds in earth opening, what seraphs are afoot. Gold seraph to gold worm in the pierced slime, greetings, advent of power in grace, the power of flies distracts the working of our souls. Earth's abundance, the God-ejected word resorts to flesh, procures carrion, satisfies its white hunger. Salvation's travesty, a deathless metaphor. The stale head sourced in original blood. The little feast, foaming with cries of rapture and despair. I got a very late inspiration for a new script when Mia, the beautiful and gifted administrator, was taking me to the green room, and I said diffidently, there do seem to be rather a lot of poets. And she said, oh yes, we've had a very, very, very wide variety of readers, all kinds, from the classical to the popular, but no rap. And I said, but I do rap. And she laughed politely at this kind of senile joke. But I do rap. I have a book of rap. It's called Speech, and I and at least 6 other people in the country think it's among the best things that I've done. And I'm going to read just a few sections from Speech. It's made up of 120 sections of 12 lines each of unrhymed verse. It's all right. You're not going to get the 120. And don't get me started on why I chose 120. I will say that, of course, it is an allusion to Sa'd's 120 Days of Sodom. And the thing not to get me started on is my belief that nothing more demonstrates the nature of the plutocratic anarchy we are currently inhabiting than something by de Sade, such as 120 Days of Sodom. So let us hear just a few excerpts from that. Yes. Either the thing moves Rap Master or it does not. I disclaim spontaneity, the appearance of which is power. I will match you, fake Pindaric for trite violence, evil twin. Here I address fresh auditors. Suppose you have gone the full distance. Take up online the true nature of this achievement. Prove that you have fixed the manifold. Dismiss the non-appearance of peculiar mercies. Presume to examine the brain in its electric cauldron regarding the brazen head. Well, I suppose I have been in one more terrifying situation, though it wasn't so much terrifying for me. At one of the very earliest readings I ever gave, when I was in my early 20s, somebody did suffer a fatal stroke in the middle of my reading. And as there were only about 6 people there, it could hardly be overlooked. Pardon is incumbent, Rap Master, or it is not. I'm balanced, I think not, so get in line, snuff man, with Prince of Feathers, pratfall his oppo, mourning Persephone, lost in September tribute, England's daughter, hack violence to yourself, brief miracle, confessions overridden. None of these gifts us self-knowledge. She is beyond it, and you are nowhere, spielers of abuse. Slow burn, slow double take, the Northampton Madonna and child. She there? Can it be the grief matronal? I shall return to that. That, of course, the occasion for these few parts of the book are the Princess Di business, in which I come out, in fact, as remarkably sympathetic to Princess Di. Hopefully, Rap Master, I can take stock how best to out-rap you. Like Herod raging in the street pageants, work the crowd. Bit short of puff these days. Swig any one elixir to revive the membrum. Squeeze both tubes for instant bonding. It's his call. In the Algarve, places like that, the Brits are heroes, living as they have to. Cheers. Where are we? Lured. Some sodding mystery tour. What do you mean a break? Pisses me off. Great singer Elton John, though. Christ almighty, even the buses are kneeling. Tune up an old saw, the name broker as Carnifex, forms of enhanced interrogation by the book, footnotes to explain Birkenau, Buchenwald, Burnham Beeches, Dumbarton Oaks, Hollywood, masters of art, toiling as they are bent to Saturn's justice in Praetorian bunkers, pouring tortured figures from foundry sand with suspect blood and their own fecal matter, as many days as are the days of Sodom. Count all 120, then shriek, I'm coming! When all else fails, Corinthians will be read by a man in too tight shoes. No matter, you shall not degrade or debauch the word love beyond redemption, as she redeems it. 6 times this trip I have brought round my wreath to the vulgar gates. Let Thames take over, not grandiosely, our plebeian grief. Evangelical high prelates caught spitting out plumstones. Guardsmen make heroic bearers, even their wry necks crick in alignment. Comedienne to act sorry for hostile nation. Curtains, credits. If you don't know who the man in too tight shoes is, reading Corinthians, then get hold of a CD or a DVD of Princess Diana's funeral and you will find out. Where coda to the city of God? Restore what decrepit organ? Who has a mind to improvise? You say it is all improvisation. Do, mine Ariel. Shove off, there's a love. Under half-dead wisteria crudely cut back, the stone lintel, newly snail-cobbled, glitters with their mucilage. Not bad as an aubade, not quite the final gasp. Extrapolate last post into Reveille. Re-evil, relive, revile, revalue, self-revelation. Easy now, soul brother. How could you have lived through him so long? Don't take it for an accusation. You write as if sleepwalking. I never walk in my sleep. I fall off chairs. But yes, it's a lengthy haul to the diploma. Self-correction without tears. See me reverse tango this juggernaut onto the road. 10 degrees backward, Isaiah says. Ezekiel's the better mechanic, but less, you know, beautiful. All 18 wheels engaging the hard top and no body damage to speak of. Ride it, preacher. I'll finish with a poem called To the High Court of Parliament. dated November 1994. People always think that I wrote that poem about the Thatcherite government selling off a graveyard to speculators for a pound. In fact, I was in the States and I hadn't heard of that. It's called November 1994 because that is the 350th anniversary of the publication of Milton's Areopagitica on the freedom of unlicensed printing. And you can say this is me in my prescient form, just as you can say that Mercian Hymns, which I wrote and published in 1971, is astonishingly prescient of the discovery of the Staffordshire hoard, that magnificent hoard. But there we are. Poetry is a strange angel. And has very little to do with enjoyment, actually. Great deal to do with joy, not with enjoyment. Enjoyment is patronizing and possessive, like the old archaic euphemism of a man sexually enjoying a woman's body. So when you enjoy a poem, you say, "You are mine, and you please me in my current mood." And the angel of poetry says, "Sod off. Sod off!" To the High Court of Parliament, November 1994. Who could outbalance poised marvel, balk the strength of Gilray's unrelenting, unreconciling mind, grandees risen from scavenge, to whom Milton addressed his ideal censure, once more singular, ill-attended, staid and bitter commedia, as she is called, delivers to your mirth her veiled presence. None the less amazing, Barry's and Pugin's grand dark lantern above the incumbent Thames, you, as by custom unillumined, masters of servile counsel, who can now speak for despoiled merit, the fouled catchments of Demos, as thy high lamp presides with sovereign equity over against us across this densely reflective, long-drawn procession of waters.